Imagine stepping into a world where the ground beneath your feet is as soft as velvet and as green as emerald. Moss gardens, a spectacle of nature's simplicity, offer more than just aesthetic delight. They bring a sense of peace and a whisper of ancient forests to any space. With their lush, low-maintenance charm, mosses are ideal for those who appreciate beauty without the toil. They thrive with minimal fuss, needing just a touch of moisture and shade to prosper. Now hold that image and let's explore how you can create this serene landscape in your own backyard. Selecting the right type of moss is the first step toward your garden masterpiece. Let's delve into a few popular varieties, each with its own unique charm and requirements. First, meet cushion moss, a plush, dome-shaped variety that thrives in moist, shaded areas. Its soft, deep green clumps make it a favorite for creating that classic mossy look. Perfect for gardeners who enjoy a thick, verdant ground cover that feels like walking on a natural carpet. Next, there's haircap moss, which stands out with its star-shaped sprouts and a slightly rugged appearance. This type prefers well-drained soils and can tolerate more sunlight and dry conditions than many other mosses. It's an excellent choice for adding texture and height to your moss garden. Lastly, consider rock-cap moss, which, as the name suggests, naturally adorns rocky surfaces. This type embraces verticality and is ideal for dressing up stones and garden walls, thriving in partial shade and moist conditions. With the right moss selected, you're ready to start planting. A perfect home for your moss begins with the perfect site. To kick things off, you'll need to clear the area of any existing vegetation. This means gently removing any weeds, grasses, or old plant material that could compete with your moss for nutrients and water. Next, evaluate the natural lighting. Moss thrives in shade, so look for a spot that mimics the dappled light of a forest floor. If your chosen area gets more sun than ideal, consider planting taller plants nearby to create natural shade, or use a shade cloth as a temporary solution until your moss establishes itself. Finally, let's talk soil. Moss prefers a slightly acidic environment to really flourish. If your soil isn't naturally acidic, you can amend it by mixing in materials like sphagnum, peat moss, or finely ground pine bark. This will help lower the pH and create the perfect base for your moss garden. With your site prepared, your moss's new home is ready to be established. Planting moss can be as simple as a child's play. Let's walk through the delightful process of planting your very own moss garden. To start, gather your moss. Whether you've sourced it from another part of your garden or purchased it, ensure it's healthy and ready to spread its charm. Begin by breaking the moss into smaller, manageable pieces. This technique, known as fragmentation, helps the moss cover more ground quickly. Think of it as helping the moss to multiply its beauty across your chosen space. Each fragment will eventually grow and fill in the gaps, creating a seamless green carpet. Next, it's time to make contact. Place each piece of moss onto the soil where you want it to thrive. Gently but firmly press the moss into the soil to ensure good contact. This step is crucial, as it helps the moss establish a strong connection with its new home, promoting better growth. Now let's talk about the initial watering. Moss loves moisture, so give your newly planted moss a generous drink of water. Use a watering can to gently shower the area, avoiding any harsh streams that might dislodge your carefully placed moss pieces. This initial watering is vital, setting the stage for the moss to settle in comfortably. Remember, the key to a successful moss garden is not just in the planting, but in the ongoing care. After planting, caring for your moss is key to its growth. With just a bit of attention and love, your moss garden will soon be a lush, verdant retreat. The real secret to a lush moss garden lies in its care. Moss, while often celebrated for its low maintenance, still craves attention in subtle yet specific ways. Let's delve into how you can keep your moss garden thriving with some simple, effective practices. Firstly, watering your moss is crucial, yet it's all about balance. Moss loves moisture but despises being waterlogged. Aim to keep the soil consistently damp. During drier seasons, a gentle misting in the early morning can do wonders, mimicking the natural dew moss would receive in its wild habitat. Next, let's talk about weeding. Yes, even in a moss garden, unwanted guests can appear. Weeds can be more aggressive than moss and might steal essential nutrients and light. The best approach is the gentle one. Carefully pluck out weeds by hand to avoid disturbing the moss's delicate structure. This might seem tedious, but it preserves the moss's integrity and prevents further damage. Seasonal care is another pivotal aspect. As seasons change, so do the needs of your moss garden. In spring and fall, lightly rake over the moss to remove any dead material and debris, ensuring it can breathe and receive adequate light. This is also an excellent time to check for any signs of stress or disease. Speaking of stress, let's address common issues like dry patches and yellowing moss. These problems often signal an imbalance in moisture or pH levels. If dry patches appear, increase your watering frequency slightly. For yellowing moss, this could indicate either too much sun or a need for nutrient adjustment. Sometimes simply relocating your moss to a shadier spot or applying a moss-friendly fertilizer can revive its vibrant green hue. In the case of pests, such as slugs, which are fond of moist environments, natural deterrents like crushed eggshells or coffee grounds sprinkled around the garden can be effective. These remedies protect your moss without the use of harsh chemicals. Consistent care will ensure your moss garden remains a captivating feature of your landscape. Even in the easiest gardens, issues can arise. Let's tackle some common hurdles you might encounter in your moss garden. First up, if you notice your moss turning brown, it's often a sign of dehydration. Moss thrives in moist environments, so ensure it's getting enough water, especially during dry spells. A gentle misting in the morning can work wonders. Next, let's talk about weeds. These uninvited guests can be quite persistent. The best approach is to manually remove them, ensuring you get the roots to prevent them from coming back. Regular checks and prompt removal will keep your moss garden looking pristine. Lastly, encountering patches where moss fails to grow can be disheartening. This usually indicates poor soil conditions or inadequate shade. Try relocating your moss to a more suitable spot or adjusting the soil's acidity by adding sphagnum peat moss to increase moisture retention and lower pH levels. With these troubleshooting tips, you're well equipped to keep your moss garden green and thriving. Now that you've mastered the basics, it's time to reflect on the joys of moss gardening. Imagine stepping into a lush green oasis that you've created, an enchanting space where tranquility meets timeless beauty. Moss gardens are not just visually stunning, they are a testament to simplicity and sustainability in gardening. One of the most appealing aspects of moss gardening is its minimal maintenance. Once established, your moss garden needs very little care, freeing you to enjoy its beauty without the constant toil that comes with more traditional gardens. This ease of upkeep makes moss an ideal choice for both gardening veterans and those new to the world of green thumbs. Moreover, moss gardens are environmentally friendly. They provide a natural cooling effect and help in maintaining soil health, making them a wonderful choice for eco-conscious gardeners. Feel free to personalize your moss garden. Experiment with different moss types and designs to create a unique landscape that reflects your style and complements your outdoor space. Embark on your moss gardening journey and enjoy the peaceful ambiance it brings to your outdoor space. Creating a moss garden is like painting with nature's own palette. Today we've explored how simple and enchanting it is to cultivate your own moss garden. From selecting the ideal moss species to preparing the site, planting and maintaining your green oasis, we've covered it all. Now it's your turn to bring this tranquility to your own space. Embrace the journey of moss gardening and don't hesitate to share your lush, verdant transformations. Thank you for joining this green adventure. May your garden flourish and your spirits lift with each patch of moss you lay down.